Hello. Is there anybody out there? Seriously though, can anybody hear me? Well, there's nobody here, but yeah, I'm just here wanting to pretty much test out how things would look like streaming for a little bit. This is pretty much my first live stream, so hearing an echo, let me take that off. So yeah, as if anyone comes on, I'll definitely be able to. Oh, okay. Well, I'm just testing out these softwares and whatnot, trying to get up to speed with technology. Earlier in the morning, I was on a live stream for Craig Russell's Instagram doing headshot illustrations of different characters. That was a lot of fun. But I just wanted to do a quick, hopefully a quick video on just to get some ideas out there because I was watching the video by Armando Drago Mendoza about not quitting making comics, and he says some things that definitely opens things up for a deeper conversation, or at least that resonated with me in a little bit. So I kind of wanted to talk about that real quick. And one of the things that he said during this video he made was a lot of people sometimes confuse confidence with arrogance, which is the title that I pretty much put on this video, confidence and arrogance, because it's something that's happened to me quite a few times as well. In the sense of if you show confidence in yourself, confidence in your abilities, sometimes that's mistaken for arrogance. And there's kind of like a fine line, I guess, between the two. But like the main difference being confident in yourself is showing that you know what you're doing, you're putting in the work, and you're proud of yourself. Meanwhile, yes, arrogance would be just being proud of yourself without any real merit sometimes. Like you just think that you're better than other people and whatnot. And that happened a lot when I was living in Puerto Rico in the comic book scene, especially when I first started doing Fred Peterson, the Mighty Warlord. Way back when webcomics wasn't a thing like it is now, that webtoons kind of helped that kind of explode into a more popular consciousness that webcomics are a thing. But back then, when I started doing webcomics around 2004, 2005, it was still relatively new to the point where industry professionals would say that webcomics was amateur hour and really looked down on webcomics back then, which is kind of ironic now because a lot of industry professionals are actually doing webtoons trying to appeal to a broader audience, especially if they're not doing mainstream work at Marvel or DC at the moment, and even creating their own websites to upload webcomics as well. So that's different. Like that's definitely an interesting dynamic, witnessing pretty much how webcomics were looked down upon and how webtoons in a way helped webcomics boom in a way nowadays over the last couple of years. But either way, going back to the original thought, when I was doing Warlord at the time, um, a lot of colleagues or a few colleagues would, just kind of approach me and be like, you know, that Warlord webcomic you're doing, it's all right. It's cool. I get what you're doing, but you're not gonna sell here in Puerto Rico if you have a comic book that's about a superhero and it's not very superheroic in the sense that there's not a lot of action in the story. And sometimes I would just look at them straight in the face or whatever if we're on the phone and just very seriously say, who says I just want to concentrate in just Puerto Rico? Like if I'm doing a web comic, I have the world looking at me. Like my focus is not just to sell in Puerto Rico. Like of course I would love to have a big Puerto Rican audience because the comic is based in Puerto Rico and the characters are Puerto Rican. But at the same time, I want to do it just enough so that other people in other countries can read and be entertained, I hope, by the comic too. You know, like the example sometimes I would bring up is like, and not that I'm comparing myself to someone like Todd McFarlane, but I would bring up the example of Todd McFarlane wasn't worried about Spawn being the top selling comic in Canada. You know, he's worried about making Spawn his whole brand like the next Spider-Man, having that character be that memorable and have that brand be so identifiable around the world. And I don't know if that'll ever happen with my comic. I just settle for at least 10 viewers or whatever. As long as I have one reader, I'll keep doing it. But again, you have to have that confidence in what you're doing because if you don't have the confidence and you don't have that self-respect in what you're doing, no one else is going to respect you or the work that you're doing. And whenever I would say stuff like that to other colleagues, they would actually get mad at me. It would be like, "What? Something outside of Puerto Rico? You must be mad." You know, I just this Arab asshole or something. Surely, don't corner yourself. Don't box yourself into a corner. Sometimes you have to put yourself out there. And like Armando's video was saying, to just do your thing, you know? And oh boy, it's just like a lot of memories come back from those times. But anyway, you have to put your thing out there and you have to have that confidence that, you know, regardless of whether people will be reading it or not, eventually that'll come. Like it's frustrating that I understand the frustration of putting something up and probably not having a like or a comment or whatever, or it takes a long time for it to happen. And it can be tiring, it can be grueling in a way. I definitely understand that, but also you have to understand as a creator things don't really happen overnight. Like there are very few overnight successes in any medium, really. And you have to be humble enough to realize that, you have to have the confidence that eventually you will have an audience through the discipline that you keep. Um, sorry, I'm being distracted by messages. Let me put my phone away. Well, anyway, you have to have that confidence that people will eventually read your comic, that people will eventually leave you those likes and those comments. And you have to have that confidence because if you're arrogant going into it, you're going to crash and burn pretty fast, or at least that's what I've seen happen. Because, like, you'll see an artist go in and see something like Sarah Scribbles, for example, or something like that, and think, like, oh, well, if this person can get millions of likes and viewers and readers and have a book deal and their art isn't as good as mine, then I'm just going to put my stuff out there and I'm immediately going to be making a lot of money and get all those big contract deals. And that's not how it works because even with someone like Sarah Scribbles, who has such a simple art to her web strips that she posts on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, like she worked a lot, you know. She put a lot of work into getting to where she was. And if you look at her other artwork on her website, she is a very accomplished artist. She actually does a lot of gorgeous, very detailed art as well. So again, she's a very talented person, and you can't just go in with the mindset of I can do better than this person because I have a better style. First of all, style is subjective to begin with, because no two people are going to like the same things also. So you can't go in with that mindset either. And you can't be too timid as well, like thinking that maybe what you're doing isn't going to be good or you're not going to have people read or follow you. Because I've met a lot of friends that are incredibly talented that could make a big difference in the comic book world if they put their art and their story out there, but they leave everything either in their hard drive or in their um, desks because they just don't dare to put it out there because they're either afraid of failure, afraid of success or whatever, which again is perfectly understandable. But if you have that dream, if you have that goal, like I'm the type of person that I would rather find out if I put it out there and fail. At least I know that I failed and that I tried, rather than keep thinking to myself what would have happened. So, if anything, what I want to say is also don't give up too soon if you're going through that phase of you're uploading your art, whether it be a web comic, whether you're just an Instagram artist that you like to do a lot of different kind of art types, you know, and you don't immediately get those likes, you don't immediately get those comments or reactions or whatever. Just keep going at it. You never know when you'll eventually hit that one post that will either go viral or will gain more traction for you and whatever platform that you update your artwork to. And also to keep in mind that you have to have a great attitude because a great attitude goes a long way, not just in art, but just life in general. A great attitude goes a long way because, again, you know, and I would want to think that they were well meaning. Like a lot of those people that told me that Warlord would never sell in Puerto Rico because it doesn't have enough action. A lot of those people eventually actually gave up on the comics they were doing. Like this August, Warlord, the web comic's going to turn 15 years old, actually, which is almost unheard of in terms of web comics in general, as well, of one creator sticking with just one title for so long, for that long, you know, which is something that blows my mind too, because again, like I got to see like that whole transition of web comics being from like something that was looked down on to something that even industry professionals are doing now, which is very cool, I think. So don't give your hopes up. You know, like Armando said in his video, you know, yes, keep putting the work into it. Hopefully, if you don't give up, you will eventually find that audience you're looking for. It could be a niche audience, a cult following. It could like break into the mainstream, who knows? But again, at least you know because you tried. And also, please, please bear in mind to have a good attitude because, like I mentioned before, a good attitude goes a long way. Bear in mind that people are going to try to change you and your style sometimes. Be confident in what you do because if your confidence wavers a little too much, you don't want to lose your voice trying to please everyone that tells you, you know, change your story because it's not commercial enough or change your story because it's not indie enough. You know, just do you and take whatever constructive criticism because there's a big difference between constructive criticism and just outright people ordering you to do something or be mean spirited about it, which is like a whole other topic for a whole other day, I suppose. But again, keep the attitude good, keep the vibes good, keep putting out the work. If you haven't heard it from anyone yet, I believe in you. I believe in your talent. You should believe in your own talent because something I learned a long time ago myself is you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to do it, and no one else is going to believe in you more than yourself, in the sense that you're not going to believe anyone that believes in you if you don't believe in yourself. So fill yourself with confidence as much as you can. I know it's hard, it can be difficult, but it is achievable. Baby steps, put things out there little by little. If you want to put up a web comic, but you kind of don't dare do it just yet, you can just start doing like a small Instagram post here, a Facebook page or whatever, post here, like maybe a little behind the scenes or introduction of the character. Yes, start off slow at your own pace. No two creator runs on the same energy. Go on your own pace, listen to your instincts, keep an open mind to listen to the constructive criticism, but also bear in mind that you have to listen to your own voice as well and not lose it while you're being creative. And that's pretty much all I had to say for now. I want to keep this kind of short. So hopefully if you all anyone takes something positive from this is just that, don't give up unless you get to a point in your life where it causes you too much stress, because you have to also look out for your mental wellness as well. But as long as you're still feeling well, as long as you're feeling comfortable, or maybe not comfortable is the right word, but in the context of, how you want to put things out there, yes, keep fighting the good fight. You never know what could happen later on, and stay positive and confident. And to anyone that was listening, I'll catch you guys later.